This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Thank you so much for being here. This show is created to discuss life topics to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. And as you know, I try to find like the best people I can on this planet. I love to have these amazing conversations with people who have like a beautiful perspective, who have been through things that want to come on here and impact your life. And today I found Eva here. So Eva says that I love the way she worded this actually. She said, "My soul is a healer. And my human is a spiritual, loving, creative, joyful rebel that has the ability to look at life from a place of freedom." And so I love that. And I wanted to talk to her about what that means and see what her journey is about and what is freedom actually and all of that beautiful stuff. So Eva, thank you so much for being here. How are
Thank
you?
you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Excited to have you. When I read that, I'm like, so my soul is a healer and human is okay. We gotta get into that. I gotta see. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you, Eva? Who are you?
So I'm born and raised in Germany, and 8 years ago I moved to New York, and since then I live here and express myself through this creativity of the city, and I love it.
Wow.
And yeah, who am I? I'm so
Right.
many things.
Right. Right.
Maybe
That's a
I
tough
would say
question.
I love humans. I always did,
Mm.
and I feel very connected to the collective family. And I would say I'm team healing for the greater
Mm.
good to really make a shift. So I really care that we learn to carry ourselves as human in a new way. I would say that
Mm.
fits pretty well on it. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I want to explore that because
Yeah.
I want to know what that means. And I know you got there for a reason, right?
Yeah.
We always have this catalyst in our life that happens
Mm.
and that either, pushes us into some kind of self-development where we want to know, why did I go through those things?
Yeah.
What's happening here? So I want to dig into that if you're open to that.
Yeah.
And I want to know more about your backstory. So, what got you to this point where you are into this healing aspect and the humanity aspect? So what was the journey there?
Yeah. So if I was thinking before when I prepared and just what I want to share, I thought like, wow, my life is maybe 30 years of struggle and 10 years
Mm,
of living, you know, and to
beautiful.
get to the 30 years of struggle, I see it now looking back, what a beautiful path. What treasure I could collect in this 30 years of suffering somehow and finding my path.
Love
And
that.
working as a healer now, I see the benefits of all of it, but
Hmm.
getting here
Hmm.
was a trip, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
like my life started kind of like Pippi Langstocking. My parents are entrepreneurs, so they were never around. My brother raised
Mm,
me, he's only 3 years older. And out of this, it's like without having any guidance for life, I kind of like protected myself, and I went deep into my own bubble and created
mm,
my internal world. And it felt safe within. It just didn't feel safe to open up. It felt like I can't do this or shameful or something. It was really
mm,
challenging, and but I didn't know for a long time. I didn't know that we're supposed to have caregiver. To be honest, I figured out much later in life, and it brought up challenges when you are responsible in a very early age.
mhm.
Yeah, and then it took me a while to open myself up. I would say maybe 27 years, because it's like I was really trying to get the attention and love of my parents. I would say that was my
Right.
main goal. So I obeyed. I did everything I could to just get that love, and be the good girl. And but it didn't work out, somehow. And then when I was 27, I lost it. I just said, you know what, I can't do it anymore. I can't just do it anymore. And actually, my body at that time just said, you know what, I can't do it anymore. I broke down.
Mm,
I was crying a week on my bathroom floor, and I
wow.
thought my tears will never end. There was so much bottled up pain over this lifetime. And then I started journaling and I realized, oh my God, I want nothing of this. At that point, I was married. I married my first crush, because my parents are very religious. So they expected me to be the faithful little girl,
Right.
so I
Right.
obeyed that too. I was a business owner, so I took over the business of my parents. I was responsible for 500 employees at that time.
Whew.
And
Lots of
I took that
responsibility.
yeah, I was actually taking that responsibility on when I was 23. So it was very
Wow.
early that I was like
Yeah.
in it. And yeah, and then the point when I came to 27 and my body said just like, I can't do it anymore, I realized, wow, I want nothing of it. And
Wow.
with this decision, I kind of like just started a new page and I wrote down from today on, I'm changing my life. And then
Wow.
from there on, I feel like I really opened that door. I kicked it all open. But then figuring it out, it felt almost, at that point, I had never opened myself up to it. I carried myself through myself within my own world. That was what I knew. And then
Mm.
when I was 27 and decided I'm not doing anything anymore, that meant also released all I knew. I lost my husband at that time because I couldn't do it anymore. My parents were obviously not happy about it, so I lost
Right.
that connection, if there was at that time even a connection. My parents threatened me with the business, like, if you don't do this, we kick you out. So I had no more friends because the religious background, this was all I knew.
Right.
And then it was like I knew one human on the face of the earth, and I called her. She was in the age of my mother, and I said, I can't do it anymore. I don't know what to do. I don't know anything beside this. And she said, you know what? I love you. I see you. I was just waiting for you to open up. And that was the first time that I experienced that a human can actually just love you for who you
For
are.
you. Yeah. Beautiful.
And then with this decision and with this like ripping this all apart, I just went on a journey. I questioned every little thing that was there. I started doing coachings. I read all books that they were there, and then I started actually doing a coaching education. So I learned, it's like, oh, this is actually very cool. I can actually learn
Right.
out of my experience. It really opened my entire world.
Right.
And then I also realized my deep love for humans. It's like when I was 23 and took on that business with 500 employees, it felt pretty natural, because I
Right.
love humans so much, and
Right.
so, but then realizing, wow, they are actually tools to really get things done and align, that was like a huge, huge step. And from there on, I did everything. I traveled the world. I told to my employees, like, you know what, guys, I have to go on a world trip. I took on so early, I have to go. And they say, you know what, go. And they took care of my business for a year, and
That's awesome.
they struggled through it hard, but they did it. And oh my God, it just opened up so much.
Was this your parents' business that you went?
Yeah, but they
Okay. Okay.
retired in it,
Yeah.
and so I was
Okay.
like in it. I was like
Right.
taking care of all these humans, and then
Right.
if the boss is gone for a year, some in the deep jungles of the world, no
Right.
Wi-Fi, I can call the boss for decisions. It was tough, but it
Wow.
kind of helped me to see that who I am is also valuable for other humans, and that was the first big step of healing. And when I came back from the world trip, I changed. I was
Oh
not
yeah,
a
I'm
human
sure.
anymore. Actually, I started that world trip it's like, this is one way. This is definitely one way. I'm not going back to any of this. But then,
Right.
life doesn't let you out of this hook. You have to still go back to do your homework.
Yeah.
And I went back for a little bit. But yeah, that was it. I could not do any of
Hmm.
this. And then we had a huge fight, my parents and I, at one point, and I got kicked out with an email out of my own business. And everything I knew was gone again. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
wow, it's like, how many times do I have to lose all of it? And
Right. Right.
Yeah, and
Was your
then
was your marriage over at this point?
oh yeah, it
Were
was
you
over,
yeah, it was
over.
already over when you
Yeah,
went.
it was
Okay.
over. I
Mhm.
was free. I was yeah, very free. And but then I met the second husband in that crash, because
Mhm.
I didn't know what to do. That was all I knew, the business. I
Right.
didn't see a university from the inside ever, because that was
Right.
just like, okay, go for it. I know how to figure this out. Let me just do it. And then I was kind of lost. My friend came over. I think we drank beer for a week. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. Let me just get drunk for a minute.
Right.
And then I said, like, let's go to that show. There was like 30 dancer Cubans, wild, and then I said to her, it's like, and after the show, we go out with them. And she
Fun.
said, yeah, Eva, of course, but
Right.
guess what happened? We went out with them.
Right. That's so fun.
Yeah, and then we catched fire, one guy and I, and he invited me over to Cuba. I flew, and it was very spontaneous, but we felt madly in love. It was all red flags in my face, and I
Right.
ignored them all. you know, it's like Cuba,
Right.
10 years
Right.
younger, dancer. It's like, what are you doing, Eva? But it
You're having
was it.
fun, Eva. You were having fun.
Oh my God. I had the time of my life, to be honest. And then I toured with this 30 Cubans around the world for like a half a year. And it was like, it was a whole new world that
That's
opens up.
amazing.
It's
Right.
like I had a backstage pass, and then there were like this 30 wild beings, and then I realized, wow, I'm highly creative too, but
Hmm.
when you German, you are not creative. You build cars or something,
Right.
you it's not the path to be an artist.
You are hilarious.
Yeah, and then like after this 6 months, the husband we got married then in New York. Actually, we decided let's move to New York, because I wanted to move to New York, and then
Right.
he kind of wanted to change too. And then we said, just let's go. So I broke everything up in Germany in 3 months. With 2 suitcases, we arrived here, an Airbnb for 2 weeks,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
we figured it out from here. And wow, this was wild. I have been to New York before, but like when you want to make a living here,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah. It's a
it's
little different.
oh my God, it really kicks all places that are not in place yet.
Right. Right.
And then it's like we kind of like got into it, very challenging, didn't know anybody, no business. I had no clue how this land works at all. And
Right.
2 years in or so, the husband and I, we fell apart, obviously. And I thought, like, oh my God, I'm losing it again. And
Right.
but this was the second big awakening for me, which really, really, really brought me into the place, because I couldn't
Mm.
go back to Germany because I was in the middle of a green card process. There was no traveling possible. The
Right.
husband was gone. I didn't know anybody. So I was actually forced to look. And in this, I didn't know nothing. I felt, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know, nothing made sense at that point. And then I started meditating. That was on my bucket list. So I thought, like, let's do it now. And then someone in a meditation class said, I should go to Kundalini yoga. I think you would like it. I've never heard about it in my life, but I
Mhm.
went because it resonated with me. And I don't know if you know about Kundalini yoga. They wear like white turbans and white
Mhm.
clothes. I came into this room and I thought, like, what is this? Why? But then
Right.
it's like, I thought, okay, I'm here. Let me just do it. And I closed my eyes. And 90 minutes later, I was so in love. The way it made me feel, and what it did for me was just in that 1 hour, was just magical. And then from there on, I stayed 6 months in the yoga studio, from first class in the morning to the last in the night.
Wow.
And 6 months in, I cried all the time, all that pain, all that bottled up. And then I realized also through that practice, my mind was filled with garbage on a subconscious level from all that process,
Yeah.
that life wasn't processed for me. And then I really healed. I started journaling. I released all it. Learned to manage my mind. I learned to manage my emotions. And then 6 months in, I was chanting a mantra, and my heart opened up so wide, and it was like a warmth entered my body, and it was a love I have never experienced, and it was beyond being human. And in this moment, I recognize what we are as humans.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
from this moment on, I could deeply connect to myself. I stopped beating myself up. It was almost, if I have not the capacity to love myself yet, I
mhm,
know there is a force that loves me.
mhm.
So I kind of just leaned into that divine love until I found the courage to love myself at that place.
That's awesome.
And now I think I was never planning to be a Kundalini yoga teacher ever, and then it's like I
Mhm.
was just natural. I could not leave it alone. And to this day, I love everything about this practice. It serves me every day. It aligns me with my soul. It helps me to manage my high sensitivity, that I didn't know I had for a long time,
Right.
and it really brought me into a deep, deep place of healing. And if I look back now, it's through my own healing, it's almost some really magical things happened, because it's like I found almost this spot where I just belong on earth, and
Mm,
I know who I am. I know what I came here to do, and that is some of the hardest questions that we ever can answer for ourselves,
right,
and
right.
yeah, and it just gets better and better. I feel like with the healing, with like jumping all in and knowing what
Mhm,
I'm doing this for, it feels really in alignment with who I am, what my soul came here to do. And
mhm.
to be honest, I have also a very happy end. Even it's not the end yet; it's just the
Right.
beginning. I feel with my parents, with all the challenges we had in our lives, with like really years of not speaking, with like fighting. I thought the earth is breaking into two pieces, and I thought
Right.
for a long time, they're dead. I don't want to know them anymore. And I think a year and a half ago, my father got sick, and they reached out after years of not having contact.
Mm,
And somehow that illness opened them up in a different way. And since then, we do breath work together. We do
mm.
once a week breath work together. And our
Wow.
relationship, since I have healed, it felt almost,
Powerful.
I saw somehow, and that is I think a big takeout when we release someone else's story. My parents told me, for example, I'm a failure in relationship because I
Mm,
screwed two marriages, so I felt ashamed of it,
right.
and then at one point I realized, you know what, I don't believe in relationships in that way. A relationship for me is to grow, and when this growth is not happening anymore, there's nothing to do anymore, you know and then I
Mhm,
freed myself from their life concept almost by tuning in deeper to myself and say, what do I believe about relationships, and then in that whole journey I could free myself from all that concept that were just like taught by society, by my parents, by pain somehow that I collected. And seeing now, like a year and a half in now, with my parents doing once a week breath work.
that's
We just
amazing.
said it in the morning. Thursdays is our day. So, there is so much love. And my mom, she is like, I reflected there on my feeling, and it's like, who is this woman?
Right.
Who is this
Powerful.
woman?
Yeah.
And it is so beautiful, to be honest. And I think this is one of my peak experience in my life after all that pain that we did to each other and that fighting. And, you know, I always understood they had a bad start in life, so they couldn't reflect and they just gave it one on one to us, to my brother and
Right.
me. And I got it. But still, what happens now that we love each other, that we have and enjoy each other's company, that they reflect, they understand themselves, it's beautiful. It's just, wow. It's really a gift for me to see this and experience this. And it makes me really happy, I must say, and proud a bit too, because it was not easy to get here.
No, it's not easy, right? And especially when you want that love too. I think most of us grow up wanting that love, that our first love is our parents,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Our first love is our parents.
Yeah.
So we always, and that's maybe where you were traveling so much and doing everything because you were trying to connect
Yeah.
to a love, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I think that's why it was so powerful for you when you went to
Mm.
feel that warmth and that love come to you because you're like, this is what love is,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. And
know.
it's like beyond human, actually, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
also had to learn to stay present when it gets intense. You know, it was a long experience with relationship and failures of relationships. Oh my God, you don't even believe how many U-turns I did with relationships. If I look back now, it's like, oh my God,
Like,
how
what
this
was I
is even
thinking, right? What was I thinking?
terrible. You know, how in the world? But like with the decision to, for example, with my parents, it was a big experience too. I told them, you know, instead of going away, I stay. And if they have their tantrum, I stay, you know.
Mm,
And if they act in a way that the old behavior comes to, I stay. And I told them this, and that opened their hearts, you know, and it felt like almost, okay, we can go now. We can do
yeah,
this now. Yeah. But wow, 42
that's
years of
powerful.
learning.
Yeah, but I mean, how else are you going to learn though, Eva? Right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think that you know, I think that our stories, our past, are
Mm.
not for us. I think it's our experiences,
Yeah.
but it's to impact somebody else.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
so I feel like when I look at my past, I used to look at it with a mentality of a victim,
Mm.
right?
Oh, yeah,
And
me
yeah,
too. Oh
yeah.
my God,
And
big time
now I'm
victim,
like,
you know?
that was
Poor
the
me.
best thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, of course you don't want to say it's like the best thing to feel unloved or to feel abused or
Yeah.
but when you look at it with a different perspective,
Mm.
like it was done for me to advance who
Yeah.
I am today,
Yeah.
then you appreciate the journey.
Yeah. I see it the same way, you know, and to be honest, be able to do this work now and like have the presence for someone that goes through releasing a traumatic situation out of their lives. To be honest, I want someone like me next to that situation, you know,
Exactly.
because it's like I'm not shying away from anything, you know. It's like
Right.
if somebody comes and say, I had this terrible thing happen to me, I say, let's go, you know.
Mhm,
I'm not
mhm.
afraid to jump all the way in because I know when we jump all the way in, how freeing it is, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that is what we need to have the freedom within ourselves and give us permission to be ourselves
Right.
and just be free in our thinking, in our being, in ourselves, because that is actually what is needed on earth. You know, imagine
Right.
every human being is free within themselves and their soul is the highest authority. You know, that is kind of like my dream that I want to experience, that every human being is aligned with their soul.
Mhm.
You know, there is everything taken care of in that moment. Everything, you know.
So is that what freedom means to you? Like what is freedom to you? What does that word mean?
So freedom is my highest value. It's like
Mhm.
if I need to be free in the way I express myself, in the way
Mhm.
I learn, in the way I think, you know, in
Mhm.
the way I be. You know, freedom is for me to be so free that my soul can breathe this human so easily. You know, there is no resistance to obey my soul almost, you know, and
Mhm.
it's an
Mhm.
ongoing process. You know, for now I would say I'm free, you know, I feel free. I live by my own rules. I I know what I know, you know, and I
Right.
believe in what I believe because I want to believe in it, you know.
Right. Right.
And
Fair
I
enough.
don't need permission to be me almost, you know.
Right.
But I think there's almost always a new level of freedom. You know, you can
Mhm.
always
I
elevate
believe
into
that.
them. Right now, I my goal this year is what my intention is: multidimensional freedom. You know, that is
Okay.
like that
Just a
you.
little, huh? Just a little
It's just
just a little
one
goal.
of my
Just a
tiny
little goal.
little challenges I always pick. You know, no pressure though.
Mhm.
But that gave me kind of like, you know, sometimes in our human we have a certain knowledge, I would say, you know, for example, a chakra turns this way if it's healthy, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
but maybe in the multidimensional space it can turn both ways,
Mhm.
because it's a unique experience for each human body,
Right.
and
Mhm.
being so fine tuned within that energetic field of possibilities. That is what I'm working on right now. And that
Yeah,
is,
you light up when you talk about it, so I
yeah,
see that. Yeah.
yeah. Because
Amazing.
it really does something, and I just had like a very magical experience with John Amaral. I took a day with him, and invested
Mhm.
a bit. He's just 30 years into healing energy world and stuff, and it really opened me up to this place of possibilities, and
Mm.
seeing it now, I think if we, wow, there is like
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
much to learn for us as
Oh,
humans,
yeah. Oh,
and
yeah,
like
for
if
sure.
we understand deeply what we are and how we can manipulate energetic stages of being, we have so much superpowers. It really, really fascinates me right now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is a fascinating, beautiful thing, right? Just the even
Yeah.
just the brain itself, the way the brain works, and
Yeah.
I call it mind flow. Like a lot of
Yeah.
what you're explaining, because everybody's like, oh, mindset, mindset. I'm like, I don't want my mind set. I
Yeah.
want my
Oh,
mind
I
to
love that.
flow.
Yeah.
So I call it mind flow because I feel like you, Eva, I think that there are ways to grow. There's ways
Yes.
to expand. There's
Yeah.
ways to expand your mind flow,
Yeah.
your spirit, your energy, your belief
Yeah.
systems, all of that. And
Yeah.
so I mean, you said something very, very key. You said I'm doing this and I believe in this because I want to,
Yeah.
because I want to.
Yeah.
And so even though like our belief systems may be different, that
Mm.
doesn't mean that one is wrong or right,
No.
but it just means that they are.
Yeah.
Right. And I always tell people that it just is. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to, it's what your meaning that you put on something is
Mm.
what's what makes it. But in reality, things are they just
Yeah.
are, you
You know,
know?
and that is
So
actually the freedom I wish we had for each other,
yeah,
because I'm me,
right,
I do me, you do you,
right,
everybody's taken care of,
right,
and you don't need permission from me to be you, and opposite
right.
too, and it's
Yeah,
like, wow, let's be free,
right.
let's enjoy this
Yeah,
humanness,
yeah,
let's elevate each other, but
right,
we are so hooked in fear, and we don't even know sometimes why we so hooked in all this
right.
places of stuck,
Yeah,
and I think life is beautiful, to be honest. Of
yeah,
course,
me too. I
it's
do too.
trouble, there's always something, but we have to stay positive, there
Yeah.
has to be, we have to elevate the space we coming in through our own being,
Mhm, mhm.
and that is when we actually live what we preach, it's like we cannot go there to the old place and fight them. We rather create new places with a higher vibration and live there, and that makes a difference, and
Yeah,
we vibration is key, if we
yeah,
can step all in a higher vibration, we are good,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think that's what life is, though. Life is about challenges, and so
yeah,
we're always gonna have something that's gonna challenge you because
yeah,
that is what takes you to that next level.
exactly,
It's the challenge,
yeah,
right? Like, you wouldn't have even been where you are today
no,
had it not been for the challenges,
yeah,
right? So
definitely,
I think life is beautiful because it gives us challenges, right?
definitely.
Like
Imagine we
when
had no challenges,
exactly.
you
Like,
know
I mean, yeah, I mean, it just is I wouldn't want it, to be
no, me
honest.
too,
I feel like I have become this amazingly strong, thoughtful woman because of my
yeah,
challenges, so
yeah,
I wouldn't want an easy peasy road. I don't live like that anyway, but I do believe that these challenges in our life are just such a beautiful thing.
I
And
think so
I
too.
think I think Eva, you have a beautiful way of looking at it and looking at life and all that's happened. And
Mm.
so it sounds to me like, I know you're doing it with your parents, but touch a little bit on what it is you do with your clients. What do you do with the people you work with?
Yeah. So I do Kundalini yoga. I have
Mhm.
a virtual studio. I actually jumped
Oh,
right
okay.
in with the hit of the pandemic. I said, let me do this full time. I'm full time now for the universe. I'm
Wow,
working full
that's
time for the
awesome.
universe.
Full time for the universe.
Yeah, and it feels good, and I'm really committed. So I open a virtual studio. I have one a live class on Tuesdays at 10 New York time, and all the classes are recorded, so they're 24/7 available for all members.
Oh, wow.
This is it, and then I do breath work. So people come actually to my place. I set it up in a way that people can come here and I help them to heal through the breath work,
Wow.
and it's magical. It's really
Yeah.
magical. When someone, it's like, I'm so fulfilled, and I think this feeling is better than being happy or whatever could be there. Being
Right.
fulfilled with what
Right.
you do
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
far a really nice feeling, I must
Yeah.
say. And
And I
it's
think it's what everybody looks for in life, right? We're all
yeah.
looking I think that's why, to your point about, before, like, why are people so, like, hooked or whatever? I think that's
Mm,
the reason.
yeah,
They're looking for what is that fulfills me, and because
yeah,
they don't feel that, there's an emptiness going on, so they
yeah.
think, "Oh, I gotta do it like Eva does, I gotta do it like Nina does, I gotta do it
Oh,
like this one
yeah,
does, I gotta do it," and then they can't find them, and
yeah,
that's a really I've been there, so that's a
yeah, me
really
too.
tough place to be.
Yeah.
Really
And
tough,
maybe
yeah.
it's okay to borrow somebody else's path for a
Yeah.
while, to
Mhm.
just figure it out. But I think if we also give ourselves the freedom to do it our way,
Yeah.
and just like figure out what that means. But it's not the easiest topic in life to
Yeah.
to just answer this question, But
Oh,
I think it's
absolutely.
worth it to ask that tough question,
Yeah. Yeah.
why I'm here, what I'm gonna do with this lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah. Very short lifetime.
Yeah,
It comes and goes.
it's very
Comes and
true.
goes very quickly, you
Yeah.
know? But I'm really glad that you took the time to be here with me and my audience, and I appreciate you and everything you have to say, and I would love to for you before I let you go, I want you to tell us, where is it that the people who are listening that are connecting with what you're saying, where do they go to connect with you for the breath work, for these
Yeah.
classes, things like that? So
Yeah.
where can they follow you?
Yeah, the best way is with my website. There are all information on it, and you find it with www.evakornet.com, and it's EVAKORNET.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's everything you need to know, and you can reach out.
Yeah, amazing. I'm really, really glad you came on. Thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you so
time.
much. I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
our time.
Yeah, I did too. I like these conversations with different perspectives
Yeah.
and the way that people find their way. Like it's so different, the
Mm.
journey and the destinations. I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
I can imagine. Very
Yeah.
fulfilling.
It's very fulfilling, right? Thank you, Eva. You're the best. Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. And thank you guys so much for being here with us. Remember, her website is Eva Kornet, EVAKORNET. And if you go on there and you would like to know more about the Kundalini classes that she's teaching or the breath work or anything like that, go on there and check out everything that she has going on. She has a beautiful story about who she is, and everything is on that website. I just checked it out myself. So make sure you do that, okay? Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because we are trying to grow our community here so we can grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. This is Neena Perez, straight talk, no sugar added. Until next time.
Broadcast is brought to you by Winject Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.